Imagine a law that was specifically designed to take down powerful crime bosses. Now, what if I told you that very same law is being used to sue an entire court system? Well, that's exactly what's happening right now in Florida, and frankly, it's a case that could rewrite the rules on justice in America.
So that's the central question here, isn't it? Can a legal weapon that was forged to dismantle the mob actually be turned against the very institutions and people who are sworn to uphold the law?
Well, according to a stunning new report in a federal lawsuit, the answer is a resounding yes. The claim is that a pattern of behavior down in Florida's Ninth Judicial Circuit isn't just a series of mistakes, it's racketeering.
Okay, so to really get our heads around how this is even possible, we first have to understand the powerful and pretty unusual law that's at the very heart of this whole fight. It's called RICO. It came about back in the 70s to go after organized crime. But here's the thing. The law was written to be incredibly broad. It doesn't just apply to mobsters, it applies to any enterprise that's involved in a pattern of criminal activity. And that can mean anyone, from a crime family to, well, a group of public officials.
Now, for the lawsuit to actually win, it has to prove these four things. You can think of it like a legal checklist. First, you have to show that an organized group, an enterprise, actually exists. Second, that this group repeatedly committed specific crimes, which forms a pattern. Third, that the people being sued were part of it all. And finally, that someone was actually harmed by their actions. The lawsuit claims it can tick every single one of these boxes.
So let's start with that first box on the checklist, the enterprise. Who exactly is this lawsuit accusing of being part of a coordinated group?
Yeah, this isn't about just one rogue judge. The lawsuit is alleging a whole coordinated network. We're talking about the entire Ninth Judicial Circuit, the governor's office with its power to appoint people, the bench of judges, the Florida bar which enforces the rules, and even the commission that's supposed to investigate judicial misconduct. That's a whole lot of power, and the lawsuit alleges they're all working together for a common, unspoken goal.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The argument is that the true purpose of this so-called enterprise isn't justice at all. It's about protecting itself. The report points to things like the case of Andrew Bain. After he was defeated in an election for state attorney, he was immediately reappointed as a judge. The lawsuit calls this a revolving door, a mechanism to make sure that people loyal to the system are always taken care of.
All right, so let's move on to that second item on the checklist and see how this all builds, proving a pattern. A RICO case isn't about one bad decision. It's about a whole series of connected criminal acts.
The report details several of what the law calls predicate acts. These are the specific crimes that, when you line them all up, allegedly form that criminal pattern. And these aren't just vague feelings. They're specific allegations, things like obstructing justice by using procedural rules to get a case dismissed before any evidence could be heard, or suspending an elected official, Monique Worrell, for what the report calls flimsy reasons. Each of these is a documented event that, the lawsuit claims, connects to form a bigger criminal pattern.
So, how do you prove this is a coordinated pattern and not just a series of, unfortunate coincidences? Well, the report zeroes in on one powerful comparison that it presents as the smoking gun.
And this table just lays it out so clearly. On one side, you have Judge Peffer, who they call an outsider. He shared a deep fake and was immediately put under investigation, which led to his removal. But on the other side, you have Judge Madrigal, an insider. Accused of creating a false record, the lawsuit alleges that for more than 2 years, nothing. No investigation, just protection. The argument here is simple. It's not about what you did, it's about who you are.
Okay, I know what you're probably thinking right now. Wait a minute, aren't judges protected from lawsuits? Can you even do this? And that's a great question. It's the biggest hurdle in this entire case, and it's the system's #1 defense.
It's called judicial immunity, and it is an incredibly powerful legal shield. The whole idea is to let judges make rulings without being scared of getting sued all the time. It covers actions they take as part of their official job, even if those decisions turn out to be wrong or were made with bad intentions.
But is that shield completely unbreakable? The lawsuit is betting that the answer is no. It claims there's a crack in this supposedly impenetrable wall, and it's all based on a very simple distinction.
So this is the absolute key to the whole argument. The lawsuit points to a Supreme Court case that says immunity only covers acts that require judicial judgment. And then it poses this dead simple question. Does typing a name into a database require a judge's legal expertise? The lawsuit's answer is a hard no. It's just a clerical task, what the law calls a ministerial act. And if it's not a judicial act, then there is no immunity. And that single, seemingly small distinction between a judicial act
in just a routine task, is exactly what turns this case from a simple legal fight into what the source report calls an existential threat to the system.
So why is it an existential threat? Well, it's not just about winning or losing, it's about the process itself. A RICO lawsuit allows for something called discovery, which could mean forcing the release of all sorts of internal communications, emails, memos, you name it, between everyone being accused. A system that might rely on staying behind closed doors would suddenly be forced out into the open.
So when you boil it all down, the report concludes that we're looking at two starkly different futures. If the lawsuit fails, judicial immunity gets even stronger, and the system just keeps on going as it is. But if it succeeds, a RICO verdict could set a massive new precedent, forcing huge reforms not just in Florida, but maybe all across the country.
And that really leaves us with the final massive question. We are about to find out if a legal tool that was made to fight the mafia could be the very thing that kicks off a nationwide debate about power, transparency, and accountability within the American justice system itself.